pair, get behind the ranking, have a bit of crack with this, all right? Before we go back in there, one big cheer. 1, 2, 3.
There you are, welcome back. Lorraine Keane and the happy pair of twins are all preparing themselves for our lip sync battle. Can't wait. Before that, let's meet one of Ireland's greatest golfers, a 3-time major winner. He's fresh from his win at the Portugal Masters. Please welcome Padraig Harrington. Sit down there. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, it was...
Your first win on the European Tour in 8 years.
Yeah, it was in 8 years, but I'd won a plenty between that. I won last year in the States, so
yes.
It wasn't like... It's always good to win. Certainly, that's for sure. And winning every year is important. Probably, that's kind of a sensationalised headline. There's been enough wins in the meantime, but it is nice to win.
It is nice to win. Do you want to relive that win? Because it was very close at the end, wasn't it?
I'll enjoy reliving it.
OK, because there's one shot in it. Let's have a look.
It's Padraig's nerves of steel, and he wins by one shot.
Happy man. Did I see something that a lot of Irish people do when they're concentrating with their hands, that stick out their tongue? Did I see a bit of that when you're putting?
Not just Irish people, a lot of people, when they're concentrating, I stick it out to the left.
Oh, do you?
Yes, seemingly that's quite important.
Right.
And believe it or not, my tongue hasn't been sticking out maybe as much over the last 10 years. Early on in my career, there was a lot more of it. But people like Pete Sampras used to do it a lot. I think Andy Murray does it now. A lot of people stick their tongue out when you're concentrating, but it's definitely... I'm better that way. That way. I'd better not start thinking about this.
No, sorry. But just still on your body and stuff, people remark that your head was up, your shoulders were back, your posture was good, very confident.
Yeah.
Something has changed, has it?
I wouldn't say something's changed, but I was very aware of it that week. I'm always into my sports psychology, and I would be working with sports psychologists and reading books, and one of the guys I work with is Dave Allred, who is Johnny Sexton's kicking coach, Johnny Wilkinson's kicking coach. So he's quite an intense guy, and he's just written a book, The Pressure Principle, and I was reading it, just going through it, and the problem is I know a lot of stuff. I know a lot of the stuff that's in the books. There's nothing really new, but it gave me a great reminders, and one of the things he was talking about was the language, what you're saying to yourself out in the golf course, you know, trying not to make things so absolute. There's a lot of times, like, golfers will think, well, if I hit a golf ball out of bounds, I can't win. Well, that's not true. I've hit golf balls out of bounds and won. I hit 4 balls in the water last week, 4 times. So if you were starting at the start of the week, you would say to yourself, well, if I hit it in the water once, I'm not going to win. I hit it in 4 times. I 3-putted 3 times. Again, those are things you think you can't do if you're going to have a winning week. So I was very mindful of how I was stating things, and what I saw from that was actually my physical posture changed, which, you know, if like I've talked to a lot of teams over the years, and you know, even if you say the word confidence, if you think the word confidence, your whole posture changes. So as I was working through the rounds and being a bit more optimistic, being a bit more positive, I could see how physically my chest went up, my shoulders went back, and that's always a good thing on the golf course. You've got to walk around. You don't have to act like you own the place, but you've got to walk around in your head. You've got to believe you're the man. Your ego has to be there. There's no good sports people that don't have an ego. As I said, you don't necessarily have to be obnoxious about it, but you've got to believe in yourself.
But you have to tell yourself in your head.
Oh, yeah, you have to keep reminding yourself. It's not
that
like...
you can do it, is it? I can do this.
Everything. You have to remind yourself to be optimistic. You have to remind yourself to smile. You have to remind yourself that you're lucky. Everybody can sit there and go, the glass is half empty or half full, and you can look at any situation. I could look at it... If I hit it down the fairway on the first hole and it went in a divot, I could go, wow, am I lucky it's in a divot on the first hole and not the 72nd hole? Am I lucky it's in a divot because I can hit a low shot in this hole? There's many reasons you can make it out as lucky. But you have to work on it.
But are you naturally a half full or half empty man?
I would be an optimistic person.
Oh, is you? Well,
I would be, but as I said, you continue, and this is what I'm talking about, the language. This was a reminder. You continually have to remind yourself, as you're out there, because it's very easy in golf. You've got a lot of time out there, a lot of time to think, and it's very easy to start thinking you're not getting the breaks, things aren't going your way.
Yeah.
And that can change, you know, that can change everything. As we were looking at that 3.5-foot putt there on the 18th, I was going up to it. The greens were bumpy, they're soft. There's lots of heel prints. I'm the last guy to put in it. It's downhill, it's outside the hole. Everything you wouldn't want from a short putt. And of course, you don't want to miss it in the spotlight. But I kept telling myself, every time I watch a guy win in a tournament, he taps that putt in an 18 from 3.5 feet. And I just had it in my head, well, that's what's going to happen today.
It's amazing. Inside Padraig Harrington's head, there's a documentary.
No, there's a lot in my head. There's an awful lot.
And you're a man of sort of rituals, so after a big round or a big competition, you have to sort of offload for 10 minutes. Who gets the benefit of that chat now?
Well, yeah, you know, you say rituals, it's something that's very important to all sports, to everybody in their life. When I finish a day's golf, a mundane day or a competitive day, I do need to get it off my chest. I need to talk to somebody who will listen to me and not judge me. And maybe down the road, if necessarily, get a kick up the backside if I need it eventually. But in general, just listen away and understand what I'm going through. I used to do it with my dad. My dad passed away in 2005, and there was a period after that. It came to a head once. I went out for dinner after one of the rounds, and I was with my wife, and I was with a number of people. And at the end of the evening, my wife had to have words with me. She said, like, you know, you were a total bear. What were you up to? You were so grumpy. And we'd rushed out to dinner, and I hadn't got that release.
The 10 minutes, yeah.
10 minutes, everybody needs it. You got to. The worst thing you can do as a professional golfer is finish up your round, head back to the hotel, and have room service and talk to nobody, because you're going to look at those four walls and come up with so many.
And is it stuff like, you know, I should have hit that harder on the 5th, and
anything,
I missed that putt on the 17th?
I would ring my wife Caroline, I'd ring my mum every day after a round of golf, and one of them gets it. Right. One of them gets 10 minutes of, wow, I was unlucky on this hole, I three-putted this, I played great, can't believe this happened, you know, why me, or, you know, I got a break here. It could be anything like that, because your fellow professionals,
they don't want to hear it.
No, it'd be like you finishing up here and going to another broadcaster and start telling them what you tell them something salacious that happened, you tell them something gossipy that happened, and that's what we do on the golf. If something funny happened on the golf course, if there was a row on the golf course...
But don't talk about your golf.
No, there's no point in turning around.
Listen, you're mentioning other golfers there. I believe there's some sort of deal now that you won in Portugal, that you have to pay for the Christmas party for all the other Irish golfers. Is that it?
Yeah, we have this thing now. We have our Christmas party, like all businesses. So all the guys on tour, not just the players, the caddies, you know, physios, all those. We go out at Christmas, we have a party, and we've decided, obviously, the player who's had the best year should pay for it. Shane was having the best year up to this with his second place. I don't know if my win gazumps his second place in the US Open, but it's kind of looking like that. I'm going to work really hard in trying to get Rory to turn up, because he's obviously had a better year than the rest of us. But yeah, who's ever had the best year pays.
Was there talk about Vegas, going to Vegas?
Well, this is the thing. See, I says, right, I guess that means I'm paying for the Christmas party to Shane, thinking that he might argue that his was better than me. But he came back with, well, that's good, Padraig. I was thinking of Vegas. What are you going to come up with? Right. I think you'd need to win a major for Vegas.
I was wondering, how would that work out? You know, if you all went over to Vegas, all the Irish golfers. I was wondering what that would look like. How would that end up?
Yeah,
a bit like that, probably.
Just no pictures.
There's no pictures, yeah. What goes on tour stays on tour, yeah. So where are you going? Where
I haven't sorted that out yet.
Right.
We're kind of, last year we went to the races up in Dundalk. The year before we went to the Dogs and Harrows Cross.
Very glamorous.
You've got to somehow draw the day out. Yeah, right, you can't just go straight at it. So yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know if we might venture outside the Pale and maybe go somewhere down the country, or who knows at this stage. I'm up for options and open to ideas.
You represented Ireland at the Olympics. You had a great time. No regrets there.
No, I'm an Olympian. Wow, isn't that great? Like, I'd won 3 major championships. Now I'm an Olympian. It adds to my career having been there. It was a phenomenal experience. Really loved it. The golf was brilliant. I spent an extra week going to all the events, and I really enjoyed the experience, and you know, would love to get back there in Tokyo in 2020.
So it's definitely on in Tokyo, and then it's about 2024 whether golf will be an event at that.
You know, IOC decide on whether it's an event based on TV numbers.
Right.
And the TV numbers were great for golf.
Okay.
So it's unlikely that won't be in it in 2024.
Just still on the Olympics, because this chat continues, because Rory McIlroy was interviewed in Shanghai during the week, and he said there was more to him not going to the Olympics than the Zika virus. It's about where he was from.
Yeah, look, you know, you're asking me the question, and this is a question nobody can answer. Rory, the greatest statesman, can't answer that question, and Rory's, like myself, is good at hitting a little white golf ball, not making decisions that have political ramifications.
Right, okay.
Clearly, all I can say with Rory, he loves where he's from. Just loves it. He is so much into it. You look at the Irish Open and how much he puts into that, and he puts a serious amount of effort. He loves his home. Loves it here. It's a tough decision, and you know, in hindsight, I'm pretty sure he thinks he should have gone. No doubt about it. That the Zika virus and things like that, it kind of all piled up, and it was a bit of an excuse. Some golfers pulled out, and I said it at the time, a lot of guys followed. We actually missed Tiger Woods in that sense, because if Tiger turned up, everybody else would have turned up. But there was a sign of excuses made and guys left out. But everybody who didn't go realises, wow, that was an opportunity missed.
Do you think it'll be different in Tokyo?
Yeah, I definitely think it would be different. But poor Rory would be stuck with the same decisions. You know, as he said
play
himself,
for Ireland or play for
it wasn't
Team
Zika.
GB.
Well, it's not a question of. It's just what if he does what it means, what the decisions it makes, and you know, nobody's been able to answer that question. It's a huge question, and Rory, as I said, is good at hitting a little white golf ball, but you know, the greatest politicians struggle with that, let alone just a professional golfer.
Now, you were vice captain at the Ryder Cup. Europe lost. Was that a tough position to hold, vice captain?
No. It's obviously the Ryder Cup's one of the biggest things in golf, big thing in sport, and I had an inside seat, saw it all going on. I'm there, like, get privy to everything that's happening, you know, with no pressure on me. Because clearly, when the team wins, the captain gets the glory, and when the team loses, the buck stops with the captain. And it's been interesting since then, you know, the amount of people who have second-guessed, you know, people who are picked on the team and different strategies. And when you're the vice captain, and this is my second time being vice captain, you realise no decision is made in isolation. There is so many knock-on effects and complications to each decision. And, you know, when I come home and people start telling me that this guy should have been picked and this guy should have been paired with him, I'm going, but that would have affected a different pairing, and it would have affected the next day, and it would have affected everything. Clearly we lost, and, you know, maybe the US team were better than us. Maybe the home advantage was a big issue.
Big thing, yeah.
And yes, you know, knowing what we know now, maybe we would have made different decisions, but there's no regrets.
Would you like to be captain for the next Ryder Cup?
I'd love to be captain, but not for the next Ryder Cup. It takes too much out. It's 2 years at least of your life. Paul McGinley has ruined it for us all, to be honest. You know, it used to be a 4-week job, and you breezed in and out. Now you've got to put the effort in. Paul was the first. I won't say the first, but he certainly took it to a new level. It probably took 3 years out of his golfing career for him to be captain. And I'm 45, and I don't want to give up. Selfishly, I don't want to give up 3.5 years of my career. I want to play. In my head, I want to make the next Ryder Cup. Right. Now, it doesn't matter what people think, and there'll be people out there saying, "Oh, that's not going to happen." I've got to believe it and create my own reality, and I've got to lie to myself and just convince myself that that can happen. And even if it doesn't happen, I will play better by believing that it will happen. Yeah.
Well, you look like you're enjoying it still.
I'm loving it. Fascinated by it. I love the competition. I like practicing and I like the competition, but I find Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now, I find a lot tougher than I would have when I was young on the tour.
Why, stuff that's going on in your head, is it?
Just I'm bored. I'm tired.
Right, okay.
You know,
Get a hobby.
Yeah, you know. Well, to be honest, when I started out on tour, there was a great mix of Irish. There was 14 Irish pros on tour. There was a good buzz about it. Middle of my career, my family travelled. Now I'm finding I need to have other Irish pros out there. I need that release. So, like Shane Lowry is out on tour in the States. Seamus Power is new on tour in the States, and that's a huge thing for me. Like, during the week now, we go out for dinner with other Irish guys maybe 4 or 5 times in the week, and it gets me away from the golf. It's a long trip. Most Europeans who struggle in the US have struggled because they're lonely over there.
Okay.
It's a very lonely place.
Right. You wouldn't think. you
No,
wouldn't think
but
that.
everything's so convenient. Like, you think about it, in the States, you can get in your car, drive down the road, you can see a restaurant, and you know exactly what experience you're going to have in that restaurant, for what price, everything about it you know. Whereas in Europe, you better ask somebody where there's a good restaurant, because you could get a bad restaurant.
Yeah.
So you know, you have to talk to people. We share cars in Europe. You stay in lovely different hotels. In the States, you could actually stay every week in the exact same designed room.
Right.
If you stayed in pick a Marriott, you could stay in the exact same looking room every week of the year.
Yeah.
It might be convenient, but it actually ends up as being very
Boring.
lonely.
Boring,
And plus, as much as I'm into the US sport, I still don't have enough of a knowledge of US sport to really sit down and enjoy it with the US guys. And I don't know college sport, which
Okay.
they're all into.
Well, listen, we hope we'll see you on the Ryder Cup team in 2 years' time. And maybe knitting might work for you. I don't know. I don't know. Something. You need a hobby. You need a hobby to bring with you to the States. Listen, stay with us. But for the moment, Padraig Harrington, I want you to do something with me in a moment. Padraig Harrington, yeah. OK. It's time for our lip sync battle. You come over here, Lorraine Keane. She's from a showbiz dynasty, no stranger to television. It's